Okay, y'all, because of my good fortune and all of you that have watched so diligently, I splurged and got a brand new surprise bucket. So, what's under the new green bucket? Waterlogged possum head. Here's my advice. If you can't swim, don't go swimming. It's so easy. Alright. Let's take care of Mr. Possum.
Okay, here is your official warning. Yours truly, an animal-loving, God-fearing family man, a do-it-yourself, self-taught, furless taxidermist is going to remove the hide and meat off the face of this possum. If you don't want to see that, please turn it off. Otherwise, everybody else, business as usual. Rule number 1, whenever you're doing European-style skull work or European-style taxidermy where there's no hair, it's just a clean white skull, you always need to skin it. I, for whatever reason, start up the middle and cut around the skull. It's real easy. If you've never skinned anything, just pull where the hide gets tight against the skull and cut that area. It's almost like a little webbing. Really, really easy after you've done a few. And then remove as much meat as you can right now. Cut out the tongue. If the eyes are large and you can get to them, cut those out and just get it ready. We're going to put this right into a pot of boiling water. I just realized this is our very first marsupial skull. So I Googled marsupial skull cleaning music. This is what I came up with. Just to mix things up, I decided instead of firing up the old traditional cooker that you see me do every time, I was thinking, how could somebody do skulls on kind of a shoestring budget? This is a $19 butane cooker, and I went and grabbed a pot from the kitchen. My wife is not pleased about that. Just filled it with water, and I put it on that little butane cooker, put a little OxyClean in the pot, and I just let it come to a boil. So what you're looking at here, a knife and $19. Everybody's got a pot in the kitchen. It's okay to use it. It would be no different than if you boiled a steak or a piece of pork or a piece of chicken. It is literally the same thing. Don't get weird because it's a head. It's the same thing. Meat is meat. I always preach that on the small animals, you leave the top of the head and the jaw attached so that the mouth is closed. So what that does, when you go to power wash, those front teeth are together and they're less susceptible to being blown out than if they're loose. So I'm just going to boil this skull till the skin splits on the top of the nose. You can see it's already separated from the jaw, and I'm going to power wash it clean. I use a little 1600 PSI Greenworks electric power washer from Lowe's, $99. At some point, they're going to thank me for talking about that power washer, but it's a great unit. I use the fan nozzle so that it's not the super sharp nozzle. I use the green headed nozzle and I just blow everything clean. I have always struggled with possums for whatever reason, and I just got a comment from somebody saying they used my method on a possum and it just wrecked it. So I kind of felt obligated to do a new one because I have struggled with them. And I just did this one really quick. This one is a fast one, start to finish, from when I first started skinning to when it was sitting on the counter done and drying, 33 minutes. It's very quick. It doesn't need much time in the boil. So once I've washed it and got it 90% clean, I take a mixture of hydrogen peroxide, 40% by volume. I like liquid peroxide from the beauty supply, and 50% water. I make a mix. I set it back on the stove and I bring that mix to a boil with the skull in it. The second it hits the boil, I pull it out and I don't hit it with the power washer. It's too fragile. I'll take this animal and I'll break out the old toolkit and I'll brush and scrape and get all those little areas that are still holding, whether it be brain or whatever, get it all clean and then set it aside to dry. Y'all talking about doing this on a budget. Everybody's got an old toothbrush in the bathroom or a pair of tweezers. Don't be afraid to go get those and use them. I'm telling you, you boil a skull in that much peroxide, it's cleaner than whatever you're using it on. For sure. Last little bit, there's always some little tissue in and around the teeth area. So when you pull that tissue off, sometimes you're going to take teeth with you. So I like to do it over a bowl of water, drop that stuff in the bowl, then take 2 fingers and push your thumb and index finger together and roll them until you find those teeth in there. They are so small, they'll go away. Real easy to glue back in, but you got to have the teeth to do that. Using a little super glue made by Gorilla. Don't feel like it has to be this brand. This is just the one I've used for years and I really like it. The bottom jaw came apart in the boil toward the end there when I was scrubbing it. There is some tissue between the 2 sides of the jaw, so I just glue it back together, no worries. And then I like to glue the jaw onto the top of the head and then let it set and finish the drying process. Make sure all the teeth get glued back in now and then just set it aside next to a fan in order to dry.
The opossum. Oh, I'm gonna go grab the brush-tailed possum skull too. I'll be right back. You won't know the difference because I'll just cut it and edit it. I'm back. So this is a common possum to North America, the possum that I'm most familiar with. This one looks like a rat. Everybody asks, what do you do with the hides? I save some of the hides. Sometimes I throw the hides out. Do I eat the meat? Sometimes, but very rarely do I eat the meat off the head of a possum. Let me fix that. I've never eaten the meat off the head of a possum. And you know what? None of it went to waste. So this is the finished skull on that possum. I will move the camera in and do some close-ups, but it's got a very, very narrow ridge and brain hole. If I had to guess, judging by the size of the brain, that's a very unintelligent animal. Maybe that's why it plays possum. Oh, and I am wearing a hat made of brush-tailed possum, which is from New Zealand. A much broader head, a much more beautiful hide. This hide in New Zealand, instead of skinning them, the garment is used by plucking them. And they mix it with merino wool and silk and fur. And this is a lady's hat that I bought for my wife. So that was only partially weird. But brush-tailed possum, they have a beautiful tail that is completely covered in fur, as to where this is rat-tailed. You can see that they're much broader. And this is a year old. You can expect it to lighten or get a little dingy. I get a lot of comments about, oh, it started to oil up or color up. It's gonna eventually take on some more natural bone colors. That's okay. Don't get excited about that. I think this is a more desirable look than this. This is a right out of the pot. This is a year old. Anyway, let's take a quick look close. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for staying in there. Thank you for the positive comments. And the next film will be a hunting film, back to our roots and what we love to do. Thanks again for watching.